what we just witnessed was maybe one of the worst Phillies playoff losses in recent memory. Honestly, it's kind of sad that really may not stack up to other losses, but we'll get into that. Heat Ratio Sports, you got Tyler, we got Tody, then we got from All Philly All the Time, we got Owen and Luke joining us. A brutal one tonight, quite an embarrassment. The Mets beat the Phillies tonight, 7-2. Phillies are one game away from being eliminated from the postseason this year. So, Tony, I'll start with you. What did you see tonight that you didn't like?
Man, let me just I got to take a couple deep breaths, man, because that was very demoralizing. Right? I was all set to come on here and go all jigsawed out, go crazy and but you know what? This is the first time that I think I've spent a game a lot on social media, which is my fault. I should have never done it. Because I watch all the uneducated baseball people that want to talk about things they have no idea anything about. They just want to be fans, which is fine. If you want to be fans, it's fine. But what I will ask everybody right now is that no matter how frustrated you are, explain to me what Rob Thompson would have done tonight that would have changed this outcome at all. Just explain. If you could give me a very good reason, and I know, Tyler, that's why you said $243 million embarrassment, right? Because you're talking about the players. Explain to me what Rob Thompson could have done. Explain to me the pitching move he could have done. Explain to me the batting move he could have done. Stop harping on Alec Boehm in the freaking second inning, get thrown out second base. Like all this stuff that people are absolutely hanging their head on is ridiculous. This team just didn't show up. It didn't show up again. I don't know why. I don't know. But I will say this, and people probably, I'm going to ride, man. Like, I'm not saying I'm done. I'm not like, the one thing about this team, and I say this, and please, you're checking in, comment, call. You want to call in? Call in. Doesn't matter. I got a call-in number. You can do whatever you want, okay? But all I'm going to say is this team was built to win with their bats. So Aaron Nola, no matter what you said, did his job, okay? He did his job. Zach Wheeler did his job. Okay, like these guys did their job. Even Sanchez, for the most part, did his job. Okay, the bullpen didn't do the job again. And I saw people say, "Why'd you bring in Kirkery?" Okay, who is he bringing in? Please explain. Like this, here's the problem. Everybody throws these blanket statements out about they should bring this guy in. They should bring this guy in. Okay, well, guess what? If Kirkery would have been out, nobody would have said anything. It would say, "Great move, Rob. Good job." But no, because it didn't happen. They harp on it, right? That the fact of the matter is, I'll be done getting long-winded. I'm very sorry for everybody holding up your time, but all I'm going to say is this is on the players, and the one thing I will tell you is the players know it's on the players. So we don't have to get on here and be like, yo, Tyler, guys, listen, I'm telling you, these guys know it is on them.
I 100% agree. I think Bryson Stott should have been in there from the start. I don't know why Edmundo Sosa was playing. He almost cost the Phillies a run, bobbled it, but made a nice recovery. But he just was swinging at balls that are nowhere close to the strike zone. He's just a liability. And for his third at bat, or I think it was third at bat. I said, bro, I don't care if Manaea's in. I don't care if it's a lefty. I don't care if it's a righty. Stott needs to be out there because what Sosa has done, third at bat, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I really think that Stott should have been in from the start. Don't know why Rob left Alvarado in against Pete Alonso. That was a very questionable move. Alvarado looked like he was out of it, and he was. Walked in Alonso, and then Iglesias gets the 2-run single. Had an argument with my mom. My mom said, it's fine. It's bases loaded. It's 2 outs. And I said, he gets a single here. That scores 2 runs. And that's exactly what happened. And I mean, this game was over from pretty much the start. This offense looked dead. Once again, it's Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos, the only people that are showing up. Even Bryce Harper had a hero ball. He tried going hero ball on a couple at-bats, and that really screwed them. Castellanos, unlucky. Alec Boehm, unlucky, but stop swinging at the first pitch that you see. He saw 5 pitches in his 4 at-bats tonight. Stop swinging at the first pitches. That's why Sean Manaea was still in the 8th inning. It's because the Phillies weren't working hard counts. I'm talking, especially Alec Boehm. Like when you are in a postseason game and you have a pitcher that's really going deep in the game, you have to chillax. Just wait for your pitch. I don't care if it's right down the middle, Alex Home. Take your pitch. Work the count. Make the pitcher work because they're expecting you to swing at this first pitch because that's what he's been doing for the longest time now. So, I mean, as much as I would love to discredit Rob Thompson, he has poorly managed his team so far, but the team has not came through. Owen, Luke, whoever wants to go next. Be my guess.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I 100% agree with everything Tony said. I think he said it best. And I mean, our guys, as much as we want to discredit Rob for everything going on here, our top 4 guys, our 1, 2, 3, and 4 bets, we're paying hundreds of millions of dollars, went 3 for 13 tonight. And in arguably the biggest game of the year to this point in time, that is completely unexcusable. And yeah, call it unlucky. Nick Castellanos getting robbed on that line drive. Alec Boehm trying to go for 2, where maybe he should have stayed 1. I don't care what you say, but I mean, to go 3 for 13 in this big of a postseason stakes game, you just can't do that. You need to see big production out of those top 4 guys. And if those top 4 guys perform, that'll trickle down the rest of the lineup, and you'll see the rest of the lineup start hitting as well. And we've seen that in the past. We've seen that domino effect. We've seen that cascade. But when those top 4 guys aren't doing anything, you're not going to see anything from the rest of the team. You're not going to string hits together, and ultimately you're going to lose the game. Because, yeah, I mean, the pitching should have been better, but you can't excuse that because the guys did their job. I mean, Nola gave up 4 earned runs. We normally see 2 to 3 out of him. So 4 is not a terrible thing when you have your bats going, because you built this team around your bats. When you have those bats going, it's going to make the pitching seem like nothing because this is the best hitting team that we have seen in a long time. And it's going to make the pitching fine. But when you're not hitting, it's just unexcusable.
I agree.
Yeah,
I do.
It's so weird.
I agree.
It's such a weird experience watching the offense because it's almost like they don't decide to lock in until they need to. And it's like, oh, we're losing. Like, we got to try to come back. And then they'll work some tougher at bats. That obviously game 1, nothing really happened. They scored in the 8th or 9th inning, locked in a little bit there. Nothing in the first half of game 2. And then even Cassie literally said he locked in, but it seemed like everybody was like, okay, we need to win this game. Let's lock in, have good at bats. And then in this game, kind of like the 7th, 8th inning, 7th inning was terrible. 8th inning, they locked in. They're like, okay, let's get a rally. Let's try to win. And they were actually having good at bats. I don't understand what changes in the mentality if you're not taking the beginning of this game seriously. I don't know where the sense of urgency changes. But it's such a strange experience it seems like they're trying harder once they're losing late in the game. And I don't know why they can't have those at bats all game in a game 3 that is the pivot point in a 5-game series where 70+% of teams that win this game end up winning the series.
Definitely pinned themselves in a corner, man. They definitely pinned themselves in a corner. And I'll here's the thing that I will say, Tyler, I'll come back to you a little bit with I want to know why you think Rob Thompson's mismanaged the series. But I will say this much, that what everybody's saying here, whether it be Luke, whether it be Owen, you all are making great points. My problem though is when people start attacking the players. Yes, 3 for 13, completely unacceptable. But at the same time, it's not like a carefree 3 for 13. It's not like these guys just up there like they could give 2 shits. I mean, these guys are up there legitimately. They're pressing. And I think that's one of the biggest differences I've seen in this postseason. And they even alluded to this as well. They said that the team felt a little tense. When is this team ever tense? When is this team ever pressing? I don't understand what's going on this year. And I don't know if it's because of the expectations that they bestowed upon themselves and they bought into, this is huge. This is the moment. This is what we got to do. Maybe eventually that's what happens. But I will say this, and I'm going to say it again. And I continue to say, Tyler, Owen, Luke, you just get to know me. So you don't know me that well yet, but it is extremely hard to keep going back and back and back in these postseasons and to fight and fight. I mean, look, Great. That's why the Braves of the 90s were so goddamn good, because they just did it year in and year out, right? This is the longest season ever of any sport is baseball. And we are playing 162, and then you're playing close to 20, 30 more games if you add in scrimmages and simulations. And dude, that weighs on you when you're 30, 31, 32. And real fast, a lot of people talk about Real Muto. They want to bury Real Muto. Okay, please tell me again, what's Topper's decision? Are we going to bench JT? Like, again, JT's got the best glove in the game. Okay. And that's why, Tyler, I agree with you. Why wasn't, I argue with people all day about the Bryson Stott thing. I don't understand. You can't tell me that Sosa's 4 for 8. His bat outweighs a gold glove at second base. And not to mention, I don't care if he was 190. I don't care if he was 188. I don't care what he was again. This is the playoffs. Man, let this young kid work through. He just had a tremendous hit the other night. And now you bring him cold off the bench in the 8th inning to do what? And you're mad because he swung at 5 pitches? And you always thought, well, what the hell is he supposed to do? Like, this team is just completely different this year. I'm not done. I'm not saying I'm done. I will not say that. I still got my Phillies hat on. Okay. I'm going to have to eat crow tonight when I go on VSiN at 12:15 with Joe Cerullo, who's a Mets fan, who's been blowing my phone up for the last hour. So I got to eat crow, but it's okay. But Tyler, I just need to know, though, why do you think he's mismanaged this series?
I think the first and foremost thing was today. I know it wasn't all his fault today, but the decision to not have Bryson Stott start, that's just inexcusable. I don't care what the splits are. You bring in Austin Hayes. He looks like he shouldn't even be starting, shouldn't even be playing. He looked awful. He had some pretty terrible at-bats tonight. Same thing with Sosa. Awful. And you're not going to bring in your guy who just pretty much helped you, besides Harper and Castellanos, was the main reason you won the last game. You're not going to do that. Not keeping in the Estevez in game 2. Through 8 pitches, and you have an off day. And you bring in Matt Strahm, who struggled the day before. I don't really understand why. Game 1, it's under the water because you, like Owen said, you can't manage expecting your best guys in the bullpen to not provide. So 100%. Game 1, no fault. But game 2, very questionable bullpen moves. I don't know why he didn't keep Estevez in and then bring in Strahm if Estevez started to struggle. That almost cost them the game. But today, kept Sosa in way too long. Austin Hayes, I was on board with it, but I mean, not a good move in hindsight. But Bryson Stott not playing is just inexcusable. And Ranger Suarez is starting tomorrow. We are in an elimination game, and Ranger Suarez, whose ERA was sub-2 before the All-Star break, which is now at a 3.47, you're relying on him. Your season relies on Ranger Suarez. If he has a bad game tomorrow, I don't see any way the Phillies win because of how bad their offense was tonight. They just looked dead in the water. And so now you're relying on Ranger. You're not bringing out Zach Wheeler, who threw 7 shutout innings on 112 pitch. You're not bringing him in and then throwing Christopher Sanchez out there for game 5 at home potentially. I don't like that he hasn't used Suarez out of the bullpen. He's relying on Jose Ruiz, and we cannot do that. That's just I don't think
he loves Ruiz. He loves Ruiz. Let me. I want to Luke this because I want to kind of play devil's advocate what you were just saying and see what you guys feel about this. But watching Topper, which you're right, Tyler, right? I don't agree with a lot of his moves because he's going by strictly analytics, right? He's not going by gut feel. He's going by those numbers, whether they're minimum or not. He's going by them. He went with it with Hayes, but again, that was when he was healthy, right? Yeah, I haven't seen that out of Hayes since we got him here, right? So it's the same way. But do you think? Oh, and Luke, whoever want to answer first, but do you think it's actually working in reverse with this team? Because I feel like there's something really off that isn't always there. Like when you hear Bryce come out the other day and talk about we got to do better at the plate, we got to do this, we got to do that. He's calling his players out, right? As much as himself. But do you think some of those veteran players are like, yo, Rob, like why ain't our boy Marsh out there? Like why again, why Stott? So what are you doing? Like, do you think maybe in their mind that they're saying, man, we've been rolling with you, Rob, but certain times I think, they're kind of going against him a little bit. I don't know. Just a thought.
It's possible. It seems like they love Topper. That could change if they don't like these moves. I haven't seen anything that indicate. I haven't seen any like snarky comments from them.
No.
And the veterans, like, even if they don't like his moves, I would hope that the veterans are mature enough to not let that affect them in any way, that they're just like, well, these are the guys we're going with. We got to win no matter what. So I still trust Topper, mostly because, like, I don't, like we were saying before, he can't really do much better. Like, if you bring in another manager, there's no difference here. So I'm fine riding with him. I don't think the players are in any position to potentially complain about him. Like, if somebody were to be like, yeah, Topper really should have put Stott in, that made me pretty upset. It's like, well, you still didn't go out and play well yourself, so you shouldn't blame him. So it's possible, definitely, if they disagree with his moves. Like the 1980 Phillies just like won because they all just rallied together. They were like, it's just us. We don't care about any of the coaches. We hate them. We're doing this for us. And that worked for them. But I would hope that they are still with Topper.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've seen this year in and year out, and Owen said we haven't really seen much of anything from these players, from these veterans that are, dissing Topper in any way. I mean, Rob came in the middle of a year and brought us to 3 straight playoff appearances, which we haven't seen since the early 2010s. And I think that says a lot as a manager, coming into an organization that hasn't seen success in a long time, to take them to 3 straight playoff appearances. Granted, each playoff appearance has seemed to regress over the years, but I don't think the blame is to be put on Topper. Is every one of his decisions, maybe what every Phillies fan would want to see? I don't think so. But we ultimately aren't in that dugout. We aren't in that clubhouse. So we can't know what's going on between Rob and the players. We can't know what's going on in Rob's head. We can't know what's going on with Rob and the rest of his staff. So I think from the outside looking in, we just have to trust what's happening in there right now. And I mean, it's not over. There's still a game tomorrow. If we win tomorrow, we go back to Philly. And from there on, there could be a lot of series left to play. So, yeah.
Listen, man, I like this. I don't know. Do you guys know Larry? This is a new guy. Do you guys know Larry?
Do not.
Okay, so this is a Mets guy. And I listen, I will tell you, Larry, you're not going to get from me like you get a lot from Philly guys. I'm not going to boot you out. I'm not going to call you. Listen, man, I'm tipping my hat to you, bro, because guess what? Your team showed out. Like, I got an argument with a couple of people that thought it was nuts. Look, sometimes you got to tip the hat, man. This is the hot team, right? They're giving. Listen, they are. Jesse Winker, are you kidding me? Come on, Larry, you can't tell me that you expected Jesse Winker to hit a second deck moonshot. Like, I mean, like, these guys are just producing. But I will say this, Larry. I will say this, that if we could come in and we can win tomorrow, and listen, anything can happen in game 5s, right? Anything can happen. Okay. So I'm frustrated, boys. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated to the heavens, but I'm not going to let my blood pressure get up. I'm not going to get crazy because we've seen this too much. The only thing I will say, boys, that scares me is I don't like the body language that I'm seeing from the players this year. I mean, Tom, like, you guys also, right? I mean, my look, like, I just, again, man, yeah, Larry, absolutely, exactly. This is New York. Come on in. It's all good, man. You can have an educated conversation and have your own fandom on each side without killing each other, right? Let's just talk about it. I did this in Houston for so many times on post games, but the body language has just been non-existent, man. Like a Castellanos, I'm watching him. He looks like a deer in the headlights. Like, meaning these guys look lost. These guys look lost. It's like they're like, oh my God, we don't know what to do. Like, they're giving their best punch. It's not working. I don't. I mean, Tyler, you seen the same thing?
The worst is definitely Alec Bohm. He just looks like, I don't know if it's just because he's struggling, but it looks like he doesn't want to be there.
It's weird.
He just very unlucky tonight. Had that grounder to third. Vientos made a great play. Bohm's speed, I guess, was a detriment to him tonight, because especially with the single attempted double. Should have slid head first, but still, that was a perfect throw by Tyrone Taylor. That was a perfect bounce. And just everything went right for the Mets on that play. But the body language is just a little concerning. That's why you're on the road. That's why it was so important to win both games in Philly, because I was kind of nervous. I'm like, well, it's like Owen said earlier, it's kind of like the Braves series where they win game 1, the home team takes game 2, and then the home team for games 3 and 4 sweeps. So it's definitely concerning, especially with all the body language where it doesn't look like many of the guys are, I don't know if they're not trying. Like, they have to be trying. There's no way they're not trying, but
Yeah,
they just aren't coming off that way.
it doesn't look like it. Now, Javon, great friend of the program. Make sure you're following Javon 10 at Javon J Alfred 10 on Twitter. Great guy, great follow. Says, does Thompson roll Bone back out there tomorrow? What do you think, boys? What do you think? Jake, Luke, Owen, Luke?
We were just talking about this before we went on. Like, it just seems like bad option or bad option, because Sosa would be the guy you would go to first to replace Bohm, like in game 2, and he's looked terrible. And then we were like, well, maybe you throw Cody Clemens in at third, but it's going to be against the lefty, so that's not ideal. So it doesn't really seem like there's a great solution either way.
Hold on. Here we go. Is it anybody know this guy? Yeah, here's another match. So now these are the guys that we boot out, right? Okay. Hey, 4 nerds. Oh my, like here comes the troll. These are the trolls. Robert Rob, who named you with 2 first names, by the way. So there's the start of it. You want to be, we're nerds. You got 2 first names, bro. Phoniest names in the world, people with 2 first names. Okay, so we're trying to give you your flowers, but you don't even want to take them. So here we go. Okay, great. Like, and here's the thing about these, about the Mets people. I was just getting ready to really throw some great words out there for thank you, Damus. Look, say that I know. Listen, Damus, I agree. Who cares about Rob? He can blow up. Listen, Rob, blow up our feed all day. It's going to show me better analytics for my YouTube page. So my Google AdSense account will thank you later. So I appreciate that. Okay. But Damus, you're right. He doesn't speak. And I want to give a shout out to Sean Mania before. And again, I am a pure baseball guy. Okay. As much as I'm a fan, I'm an analyst and I love watching the game. And to see what this guy decide to do at the age of 30 plus, I heard the story that you guys heard. I knew nothing about it. I went to research it. This dude on his own, swallowed his pride and was like, bro, this dude's making millions of dollars. He could have been like, I'm just going to spit sunflower seeds out in the bullpen and not care. But he had so much pride. He said, I'm going to reinvent myself and I'm going to come back. I got a lot of respect for that, boys, because, I don't care what colors he's wearing, what team he's on. But when you do that at 30 plus, I'm 46 years old, man. So I know, I get it. So to do that at the end, well, I shouldn't say middle of your career, we would say, and you just got shellacked in front of a national audience, that's a big deal. So I want to give a shot to them. So here, boys, we got some. Damon says true Mets fans understand that a team with Cassie and Harper in a lineup will always be. See, that's what I love, man. That's what I love. What do you think about that, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, first off, what you said about Mania, I heard that on the broadcast tonight. Never knew that. I think that's an incredible move by him to get rocked by Philly in Game 4 of the CS 2 years ago, and then reinvent himself and come back and absolutely shut them down tonight. I mean, that's just it's a veteran move by him, and it's a wonderful move by him, and that just shows how much he loves the game of baseball. But then, yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know. That's such a great move.
Get Rob the stunner out the door. Hey, listen, Jay, that's all right. He can be here all day, man. It's all good. Listen, he'll leave eventually because everybody just ignores him, which is fine. But now to get back to that. It is true, man. Like if he was a Philly guy, like if that's a guy on our team, we'd be saying the same thing, man. Jake says Rays fan here. From an unbiased standpoint, it looks like the Mets are more mentally prepared. They look like they have a plan. I am going to tell you, I 100% agree. I'm not going to say that the Phillies definitely aren't taking this team lightly, guys. I don't think that's what it is. I don't think they've looked past. They're too but I think that they just automatically assumed that, like you guys said, when it was time to press in the 6th or 7th inning, that switch that everybody told me was going to just come on as soon as the playoffs start is going to be there. And you know what? Oh, and Luke, it's not there, man. It's not there. And I don't know if we can get it back, boys. I don't know if we can get it back.
I don't understand the getting it back, because like we didn't have it game 1. We thought it was back game 2. Like we were hoping maybe the momentum carries multiple games. At this point, it seems like the switch flip is game to game. Like we go into any game.
Good point.
We could have had it last game. Doesn't matter. We might have it. We might not this game. So it's just seems impossible to predict.
It really does. John Frank says another year. No, I mean, listen, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And I will say this, man, like let's ease up with the Bryce Harper. Let's not go down the Bryce Harper hate train here. Okay. Because this guy is, for all intents and purposes, one of, if not the best player to ever wear a Phillies uniform. Okay. He's going to go down. I mean, he's being goated in the same context of guys like Lou Gehrig. Okay, what he's been able to do. We're looking at a guy in Aaron Judge in New York who maybe has an historic strikeout rate in the postseason, and we have Bryce Harper on our team that's third of all time in postseason on base percentage, slugging percentage, you name it. So let's relax. Okay, Dan Marino didn't win the ring either, but that doesn't mean he wasn't one of the greatest of all time. Okay, sometimes things happen. Bryce Harper is not the only guy on this team. Okay, we watched this last year. Okay, we watched it. Listen, let's talk about Trey Turner, right? You talk about Trey Turner, who has shown up small at times. And I got to ask you this, boys. I look at some different things. Okay, and I don't care what any 1 to 3 answer, all 3, whatever. Anybody comments, but that play at second base, okay, where he had to catch that ball and tag. Was it Marte? I forget who it was. Okay, when they showed the replay, number one, it was a perfect throw by JT. I think it was Harrison Bader. I'm sorry, it was Harrison Bader. It was a perfect throw by JT. But, dude, what's up with Turner actually closing his eyes and looking away like he's afraid to get hit? Bro, come on, man. Like, I'm not trying to call nobody out, but, bro, this is big time right here. You need to put everything into it to get this guy out, and you look like you were worried about getting hit more than you were actually trying to get a tag out. That bothered me, boys. I don't know if you've seen it, but that really bothered me.
JT's been getting robbed. He's been getting absolutely robbed because JT makes 2 perfect throws. Bryson Stott drops one the other day. And today it's Trey Turner. So I just feel bad for JT Realmuto, who's having pretty much perfect throws, and he's not getting anything out of it.
Yeah, I mean, JT cannot be happy with this right now. I'm speaking from someone, obviously this doesn't compare at all. I was catcher in Little League growing up, played in high school. And I can tell you that nothing made me angrier. I mean, I'd go and strike out, made me upset. Nothing made me angrier than when I would make a perfect throw down to second base, had the runner dead to rights, and my shortstop or second baseman dropped the ball. Because there's nothing you can do at that point. You did your entire job, and there's nothing you can do at that point. And to watch JT make some amazing throws, because, I mean, he's still the best catcher in baseball. And I'm going to say it 10 times out of time. You're never going to convince me otherwise. And to see him make these perfect throws in crucial situations to get crucial outs, and to watch guys that we're paying millions of dollars to drop the ball, be scared of the ball, turn their head away from the ball because they don't want to get hit, is just, it's very, very, rage inducing.
It is. It really, I don't know if this is a dig at me. I'm not trying to call anybody out, proceeds to call someone out. Maybe it is, which is fine.
That's just
I don't have.
Don't mind Jake.
No, I don't mind Jake. I don't, dude. I could, bro. I got the nickname Jigsaw for a reason. Anybody want to battle me anytime, anywhere, I'm in, man. We'll go on Zoom 1-on-1 and I'll tear you up. I'm not worried about that. Larry says if the Philly bats wake up, this will get interesting tomorrow night. Question for you guys: who does say? This is what I didn't want to go down this rabbit hole, Larry. But I was thinking about this. Unfortunately, I was thinking like, what kind of conversation could happen if, and I just want to say, just if we don't make it out of this series, it's going to be that is going to be a very interesting conversation, because we got a lot of money on this team, boys, a lot of money. And I don't care how nice John Middleton is. I don't care how family friendly John Middleton is. It's his money. Okay, it's his money, and when you're spending that money and you're not getting an ROI like you expect, eventually something's going to have to give. So I don't want to go down that right now, Larry. All I'm going to tell you is let's have that conversation another day. I don't want to think about that because I could get into a 4-hour conversation of charts and analysis that we don't really want to go. Esther says may have to blow it. I don't know what that means. May have to blow it. I don't know what he's talking about. Here we go. Oh, I just picked on phony name again. My bad. But let's look at tomorrow. Okay. Just we'll go around the horn here. I already know I didn't do a show with you guys yet, but I kind of feel like we're all in the same agreement with Ranger Suarez in the sense that why, I'd much rather have Zach Wheeler pitching this game. Okay. SJ says, sorry, he says, blow it up. Yeah, blow it up. My boy Rick says Robbie Rob's mom must be Debbie Deb. Hey Rick, we're gonna show me and Rick's age. Maybe it's Debbie Does Dallas. There's a name that these boys don't even know about. I know Rick, you know all about that. But what I will say is on the bright side, he says at least Philly didn't waste Bryce's prime years. Listen, Damus, you're right, man. See, this is why I like. And this is why I like bringing everybody in, man. I don't care who you're a fan of. Like, that's why Heat Racer Sports is called Not Just Philly, man, because it's not just Philly bias. Whoever wants to come in and give us your absolute expertise. And here you go, right there. Brings up a great point. Pitch anyone. We have the guys. It's the offense that needs to show up. 100%. Rick. Get bullied by Alpha Meth fan. This dude is really, this dude must have zero life, man. It's crazy. Jake says the Phillies would be in control of the series if MLB would have let Harper keep his walk stuff. That is, we didn't even touch on that. It is a little crazy that they find him, but here or there. This is what I'll say, boys. I definitely would rather have Zach Wheeler pitch tomorrow. It's not going to happen. And let's go around the horn. I think this could actually be one of the most I would say important, but one of the most integral decisions of Rob Thompson's tenure right here to come out yesterday and say Rangers my guy no matter what, man. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, this decision that he makes right here is absolutely crucial because this game holds everything. Obviously, it holds everything in this year and in this series, but you win tomorrow, you have the momentum shift going back into Philly for Game 5. And I mean, no matter what you want to say about postseason baseball, no matter what you want to say about the length of the season, about stats and numbers and whatever you got, postseason baseball is a momentum game. Who has the momentum? Who has the power at the right time? Who's hot? Whose bats are hot? That's the reality of what postseason baseball comes down to. 162 games is a very long season. Records are numbers, stats are just numbers, but it's really about momentum.
100%, man. Couldn't agree. What about you, Owen?
Yeah, like we said before, with the game to game scenarios of this series, we could watch the game tomorrow. Phillies offense lights it up. Ranger comes in, shuts it down. We're like, all right, we're so back. That could very easily happen. I could absolutely see Ranger locking it in. We've seen him do that in the playoffs before, and we're like, wow, didn't expect that from Ranger because he's been shaky, but I guess he turned it on for the playoffs, and he goes 6 innings, 1 run or something like that, and the offense puts up 5 or 6 runs. It could totally happen. Very plausible. Or they come out like they did today. Ranger gets hit around, and then the offense doesn't do anything, and they go out quietly. They're just so up and down right now that our emotion, like we were talking about with the body language too, They could do great tomorrow. Body language looks awesome. I really think that if they're able to come out and score early in this game, if they could have, and if they can do it tomorrow, the Mets crowd will be annoyed, and I think they'll really feed off of that because we have a lot of guys who would love to play the villain in New York, and they just didn't even get the chance to today. I would love to see so many guys in our lineup riling up the Mets crowd. So I think it would be great if they could get off to a good start tomorrow, which is something they haven't done in this series, but getting off to a great start tomorrow would be so helpful.
Yes, it would, man. Yes, it would. Tyler, hold on real fast. My boy Rick says, Robbie, look, my boy Rick, he's like, yo, Robbie, Pike's Pub Monday night, I'll buy you Philly special. Yo, Rick, he couldn't handle that, bro. Trust me, he couldn't handle that, man. I'll tell you right now. And real fast, I see this is Jason. You're so off base, bro. Like you can all like again. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Like we're not crying about anything. Like see, you must be listening to another show because that's not what we've been doing. We're talking about our own guys. We're talking about what we did, and I've even given credit to your team, man. So listen, it's just you're just looking for affection for some reason. I don't know. David says that bullpen needs to tighten up. I want the Mets to make it a bullpen game. Get the Ranger early. Listen, Damus, if you get to our bullpen right now, I mean, I like right now, I'm not confident of anybody in our bullpen. I mean, you even watched Estevez come in and didn't look great at times, right? And boys, we talked about the Alvarado thing happened exactly the way we talked about. Tyler, remember we were talking about this last night, right? This was a low leverage situation that he turned into a high leverage situation. And what did he do? Lost complete control, man.
He did not look that good. I don't know why he was still in there when P. Alonso came up. It was first and second, 2 outs. Nimmo's the last lefty. He's going to see. He already looks like he's in his own head. He's not finding the strike zone. I don't know why Rob didn't just bring in Ruiz then. But Alvarado, I don't know. I don't think you see him for the rest of the series. I don't care if there's one more game or 2 more games. I don't think you see him at all. I think Rob prefers Colby Allard at this point over Alvarado. So much potential. Could be the best reliever on either team, but it's unfortunate. He just gets in his own head. He can't find the strike zone. He can't locate. And he just throws 3 straight pitches that are not even close to being strikes. So it's unfortunate because he has all the talent in the world. He has a close to 100-mile-an-hour sinker. Like he's got stuff that not a lot of guys have. So I mean, I just don't think you see him at all for the rest of
it, man. I want to touch on this real fast. What's up, Diane? Thanks for checking in. I know Jim's probably going crazy, or it's Jim under your account. Who knows? No, it's got to be you because Jim would be going crazy by now. But I think this is I look at this the other way. I don't like the whole take pitches concept to me. I think is a little overblown, right? Because especially with a guy like Minaya. Right, you go up there and people go, "Oh, you got to take pitches," right? Okay, I get the concept. It's kind of old school mentality because if you get up there and you think he's going to give you 1 pitch a bat to hit, and most likely it's going to be the first one to get ahead in the count. So I think a lot of times these guys get up there. That's why Castellanos is such a swing first pitch kind of guy because he knows he's not great with the off speed stuff, and he'd rather try to get that fastball early. So I like again with a guy with Minaya with his weird delivery. I can't fault him for not taking pitches. I can't. Now, if you mean to tell me that when a guy walks a guy and he misses 6 straight pitches, you come up here and swing the first pitch, yes, then I have a problem with it. Then it's ridiculous. Okay, but just to batter by batter, I actually don't agree. Jake says I used to bash Philly media. I used to think they're all just biased bullies to turn on anyone who slips up. Listen, I don't disagree. I'm not Philly media, bro. So I don't work for Philly Town. I don't work for a Philly station. I'm on Sirius. I work for a national outlet, and I work for the Blue Coats who are in Delaware. So I'm not a Philly guy. I'm a Philly guy, but I don't work in Philly media. So you can say whatever you want, bro. Oh, he says repart 2. Oh, my bad. After 2 years consistently hearing Philly's point of views, I feel like you're all incredibly passionate and hungry. Okay, I get you.
We turned Jake from
is that your guys, Jake? Okay. Okay, so you guys know all about Jake.
He cursed the Phillies last year, though. I'll never forgive him for that.
He did.
Did he blast the Phillies last year?
No. He's a Rays fan. So once they were out, he became a Phillies fan, and then they got out too.
The second you started rooting for them, it fell apart.
Yeah.
Here's a good comment. I like this because this is that we could touch on this for a little bit. I seen this coming. Too many no-name pitchers looking like the second coming of Cy Young. Let's face it. Their hitting is atrocious. It's been for quite a while. It's not atrocious, but to the credit of what we've been saying is it's just weird how, like game to game, right? Like game to game. Like, like Luke and Owen were saying, it's like it's that switch that, it's not a series long switch. It goes game to game, but the crazy thing is they all like it's like they all decide to go slow at one time and cold at one time. And this is what I will say. And what do you guys think about this? I don't know. I'm a big Kevin Long guy, always been a big Kevin Long guy. But I think maybe possibly it's because they're all doing the same approach, right? So if they're all taught the same approach and they're all walking up to the batter's box with the same intent, then yeah. So if they're all doing it, it's not working, they're all going to go cold at one time. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but they can't go cold again because my gut says Rain's going to throw a gem tomorrow. And unfortunately, I don't know if those bats are going to wake up. Who's confident? Oh, yeah, you have any confidence in these bats are going to wake up tomorrow?
I always have confidence in the Phillies offense. I don't know if it's a little bit delusional, but like they should be a great offense. We've seen it. And so every game that we go into, I'm expecting that the offense is going to produce. So I'm definitely, I would say, cautiously optimistic about the offense. I'm always confident in them because, yeah, if the switch is flipped, they're going to be great. So.
All right, see you. Bye, Rob. Stop it. Sorry,
Rob
I
is
get rid
like
of
the
Rob.
600 Mets fans who were in our comments during and after game one.
Oh,
see, and that's the thing. Like, here we are trying to have a decent conversation, looking at both ends, and then you got morons that jump in here and they just don't know how to act. That's okay. It's fine. I mean, I guess they got to do something too. Mark says, "Stop it. Series over. Please stop giving false hope. It's definitely being delusional." Everybody got to stop. Everybody just got to stop. Here we go. It's over. I don't know if you're a Mets fan or Philly. I'm not ready to say it's over, man. I'm serious. I'm not ready to say. My girl Alicia checking in. My girl Alicia. That's it, Alicia. Tell them it ain't over till it's over, right? Listen, this is game. One thing this team has shown me is their ability to come out and at least give everything, right? Like they're not going to come out tomorrow and get embarrassed if they lose. I'm telling you that right now. And I know everybody thinks tonight was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for the simple fact that the bats just didn't show up, right? But I just can't see them coming out like that tomorrow. These guys, I bet you right now, Tyler, that a couple of these guys are in the cage right now as we're talking, getting swings in. What do you think?
I mean, they bounce back. You look at game one. Harper has that post-game interview where he says this offense needs to flip a switch. And then the offense, slow at first, but they came through and they ended up winning that game. And like Castellanos tonight said, this is the closest they've been to death. I think that's a powerful quote. So I think that's a quote that, honestly, if I was playing with that guy and my teammate said that, I'd be fired up. I'd want to have the game of my life the next game. So just simple comments like that, they give me hope. I know a lot of people, I just have a gut feeling it's over, but it's not over until it says the Mets have won the series 3-1 or 2. It's not over until we see that. So there's always hope. Like Owen said, it's delusional, but sometimes you have to be delusional. You have to be. And we're fans of this team. We're not going to get down on this team. So you got to have hope. If you're a true fan of this team, you realize how much potential they have. They have a top 5, arguably top 3 player in the league in Bryce Harper, and you have a stacked lineup. Kyle Schwarber is one of the best postseason home run hitters ever. Zach Wheeler is one of, if not the best pitcher in the entire league. Same thing with Nola and Sanchez. They are also a very great sporting cast. This team just has too much talent to be given up on this easily. I know at times, game 1 and game 3 especially, they don't look good at all. But still, this is a team. They were the best team for a while in the National League, and they finished with the second best record. So people, just don't give up yet. Until it says Mets win the series, don't give up, because you have to have at least some kind of hope. There's a reason this team is in the playoffs. That's all I'm going to say.
No, I think you nailed it, man. Get to some comments. I want to ask this final question, see what people think. Winged it, yeah. What about that catch by Casty, man? Again, yeah, we all knew, right? We all knew that it was going to be, on the what do you call it, the receiver, the delay, whatever the frig you want to call it. I'm getting tongue-tied right now, but we knew that was a catch. The whole problem was I was explaining to my wife when it happened. I'm like, look, all they are is they're taking more time because they got to see if that runner stopped and then left. If he's going to be out, he's going to be safe. We all knew it was a catch, right? It was simple. But I got a question, boys. I think Tony is keyboard fighting Robbie Gobbles. No, Rick, man, he's gone. We threw him out, Rick. We threw him out. Here's a question, man. If like tomorrow's it, man, like does Wheeler come out of the bullpen if needed? And I asked it. So Tyler, go over. You're already shaking your head. No, if this game comes down to a factor where you go, we need to win this game, and Rangers done. Like, is there any ounce in your mind of intent says, you know what, they're going to put Wheeler in? What do you think?
Absolutely not. I would bring in Sanchez before you bring in Wheeler. You have to, because then game 5, you're throwing out there Christopher Sanchez. But
you got to get to game 5.
Yeah, but you're not going to waste your best arm. You want him ready for the big game. If Ranger Suarez that's the whole reason. Ranger Suarez shouldn't even be starting game 4. That's in my opinion. But
he is.
Coming out of the bullpen, I feel like that's just a waste of a Wheeler appearance. Like, you want him to go 7 innings. If Ranger gets shelled in 2 or 3 innings, okay, that's a different story. But if it's like the 8th inning and you bring in Wheeler for 2 innings, maybe even more if it goes to extras, I feel like it's just a wasted appearance. You have to keep him ready. You have a bullpen for a reason. You have to rely on that. As terrible as they've been so far, they're there for a reason. You can't just bring in your guy that's supposed to pitch next, that should be pitching on that day. So no, I don't think
we did that last year. We did that last year with Craig Kimbrell. Okay, remember that we did that last year, right? Look, Dr. Phil's checking in. Yo, Dr. Phil, what's up, Dr. Phil? I love it. Dr. Phil checking in. But now listen, Owen, I'll flip it to you because I hear what Tyler's saying and I get it. But my devil's advocate point here is going to be, okay, so if it's the 8th inning and we need a pitcher, and Tyler, you said it, right? The bullpen's there for a reason. You're right. But they have really crapped the bed. Okay, they're giving us 0. Who in the bullpen right now is giving you confidence to come out and get 2 innings? Who? Right? So, Owen, that's why I say, like, if you need it, I don't think it is a waste. I don't think it is a waste. If I got to go with Sanchez in the game 5, I got to go with Sanchez in the game 5. Right? It is what it is. But I got to get the game 5, Owen, don't I?
Yeah, I agree. You get to game 5 at all costs. I think using Wheeler for like 1 inning, probably a little bit of a waste. I would love to multiple innings for Wheeler, ideally. But this is where you can prove you're different than the Braves. The Braves never got it back to Atlanta. They lost in 4 both times to us. You got to win game 4 at all costs. So whatever it takes, I agree. You just get to a game 5 because that's the difference that shows that this is not the same scenario as the Braves where they fall in Philly both times to us as the higher seed. You got to be so desperate just to survive, get to Philly. Honestly, the Philly home field advantage isn't feeling as great as the past couple of years just because of what we saw in game 1, but it's just survival.
It is. It's survival, man. I mean, and that's the thing. It is survival. And Luke, I'll tell you, I don't know if you guys caught it, and you're going to learn this from me. I watch everything, and I watched Zach Wheeler. They showed Zach Wheeler 1 time tonight, 1 time. And when the Phillies got down by 4 runs, or actually 6 runs, what did Wheeler do? He looked, and he went back down the tunnel. That dude's already mentally preparing to be ready for tomorrow. Am I right, Luke?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a good thing to pick up and notice by you. I think he's mentally preparing, 1, for the possibility that he starts over Ranger if Rob makes that switch, or 2, for the possibility that he's going to have to pitch tomorrow. Because I agree with what both you and Owen said. This is an at-all-costs game. There is nothing about this game that you should be saying in your mind, all right, we got to say Wheeler for game 5. Because if you don't win tomorrow, there isn't a game 5. And that's just the reality. And I think Rob needs to throw everything he has to win this game. And I mean, that's what it comes down to when you have a win or go home game. You throw everything you have at this game. Because if Wheeler doesn't toe the mound tomorrow night, there's a really solid chance he won't toe a mound till February. I mean, obviously he'll do his offseason work, but he's not going to play in a game till February or even later if we don't see him early in spring training. And so I think that if we're in a close game tomorrow where the bats are moving, and so are the Mets, they're hitting too, but our bats are moving, I think Wheeler comes into that game because we just need to shut down the Mets bats. And Wheeler has been the only one so far in this series to do that. And I mean, again, if we win tomorrow, we go back home where Christopher Sanchez has shown time after time that he plays well at home. And yeah, he's probably going to give up 2 runs, 3 runs. But if we keep the bats moving, just like we said earlier, the pitching staff is going to give up runs. I mean, this is a talented Mets lineup, and they're going to give up runs. But if our bats are moving, it doesn't matter who's pitching because we're going to keep hitting too.
I love it, man. Great points, man. Great points, especially with Sanchez coming at home. And you brought it up, and now Field Trip brings it up about starting Zach Wheeler. Tyler, okay, 2 things before you answer this. One thing, just remember that what we're talking about for all the idiots out there that told me that Zach Wheeler needs to stay in game 1 and pitch 150 pitches and have his arm fall off. We're not even having this conversation. Okay. But because Rob said no, this may happen. This may be a series. It's to me a good decision by Topper. Okay. He preserved Zach Wheeler. And now we're having this conversation. So, Tyler, with that being said, do you think, I mean, Luke mentioned it. He said, what if Topper backtracks? Could you see Topper backtracking and starting Wheeler?
Well, I went on my Twitter to look and see if there's any updates. Michael Barkan said, this is a quote from Rob Thompson. They asked him, is Wheeler available out of the bullpen tomorrow? He said, I think everyone's available tomorrow. So it sure sounds like Zach Wheeler is available. I'm looking through it. I don't see anything that says Ranger's going to officially be the starter, but the most I can see is that Rob Thompson said, thinks everyone's available. So
does that mean everyone, meaning even Ranger Suarez could be available out of the bullpen?
Could be. That's how it should be because Ranger started off as your bullpen guy, and he had a sub-2 ERA when he was a bullpen guy for you. So I think he'd be just fine. You used him in the bullpen in the playoffs multiple times. So I don't know why you're still not doing that. It would be different if he was still as good as he was in the first half, but first half Ranger Suarez and October 8th Ranger Suarez, completely different players at this point. So I think you have Wheeler go, and then you bring in Ranger Suarez whenever you so choose to bring Zach out because you need to win tomorrow. It's a must win. It's at this point, it's not the middle of August and I'm on this pregame show saying, oh, the Phillies have to win or else the Mets are going to get, the Braves are going to get momentum. No, it's legitimately it. If they lose tomorrow, it's done. There's no more Phillies pre and post game show. There's no more Phillies games. There's no more any of that. You have to win. And with your, like, when you have one game to win, put in Zach Wheeler, put in your best pitcher, put in the guy who should be the National League Cy Young right now, put him in. Don't put in Ranger Suarez, who's looked very uncomfortable, less velocity, less control since he's come back from the injured list. Use him out of the bullpen. He's done great in the playoffs. Let Zach Wheeler. If Zach Wheeler comes out tomorrow and has a terrible game, oh, well. I would rather have that than have Ranger Suarez have a terrible game because you made the right call of starting Zach Wheeler. But he's your number 1 guy. You need to start him. It's not going to happen. Ranger Suarez is going to start. I really wish it would change. But
well, here's a scenario, Tyler. What do you think about this? What do you think? And everybody, right? Everybody comment. We got 176 people watching right now. We got all kinds of people coming in, which is great. Yeah, Damus, I agree. You don't want to blow out wheel. I agreed, right? Agreed. I get it. But this is a guy who's got better with age. This is a guy who continues. I mean, he was hitting what, 96, 95, 96 on the gun the other day. He is really taking care of himself. Okay, he knows that's one thing about Wheeler. I think that's very underrated is, you know, the way he takes care of his body and how he knows his limits. Like they don't have to worry about Caleb Cotham doesn't have to worry about Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler is going to tell him how he feels and what he can do. That's how good and much of a professional it is. But Tyler, what if? Listen, it stays the way it is, right? But what if Rob already in his mind said, you know what, Rangers only going 2 innings. Like Rangers go, and then Wheeler's coming in, and then Wheeler, again, you know how Rob is. Those high leverage situations. Maybe he turns a lineup over with a different pitcher every single time. I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible. Could you see that happening?
I could definitely see Ranger going through the lineup once, maybe facing some guys twice, but honestly, that doesn't sound like a terrible idea. I'm not completely against that. I think that could work. But the thing is, the Phillies pitchers, their starting pitchers, they do significantly better the third time through the lineup. That's my only concern. They get better and better as they go through the lineup. So that's just my only issue with that.
What about you, Owen? What do you think, man?
I love that concept of you have Ranger go as long as he can, and at the first sign of any type of danger, Wheeler comes in, put out even the smallest fire. Wheeler put it out, keep us going as long as you can. Yeah, I think that sounds like the ideal scenario to me. And maybe Ranger goes a clean 4 or 5 innings, and you don't need to put Wheeler in. Or maybe he gets a couple guys on in the second inning, and you're like, all right, Zach, let's see how much you can give us.
Yeah, the only thing I think that would maybe, kind of push back on that is Ranger is just, he's used to coming out of the bullpen, and Zach isn't. I don't know if their their whole mindset is a little different. Now Javon's checking and says, remember, oh, that's right. Remember, Wheeler came in game 7 at NLCS. Oh, look at that. Coincidentally, see, that's why Javon's the man. Right? Like, that's why Javon, like, right away, he pulls that great pull by Javon, as always. And that's right. I mean, we could be seeing the same scenario. Elliot, I agree, too. The offense needs to pick it up. We know, listen, this game needs to be won by the bats. No matter how good these guys are, the bats have to come alive. And if they don't, guess what? It's nobody's fault except themselves. Right? I mean, Luke, is that wrong?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I can't remember who commented this earlier, but they said any lineup with Harper and Cassidy in it is a dangerous lineup. And I think this team, this lineup, these bats, they can go at any time. And we've seen it. We've seen them go cold, and then we've seen them go absolutely berserk. And I think that you said it. They've got no one to blame but themselves if these bats don't turn on tomorrow. Because if these bats don't turn on tomorrow, it doesn't matter if you have Wheeler pitch 7 more shutout innings, and then our bullpen comes in and lets up just one run. Because if these bats don't go, you can pitch as good as you want, and it's not going to mean anything.
Agreed. Listen, boys, we're almost at an hour. I think we've said all we need to say. We've had a lot of comments, which is great. Let's go around the horn. I don't want to really get into, what the hell? We don't normally do it. It is game 4. It's very pivotal. It's important. Tyler, man, I'll start with you, brother. What happens tomorrow, man? What's your prediction?
I mean, Jose Quintana is probably going to be the pitcher for the Mets.
Yep.
He went 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts against the Brewers. And he had the Phillies. Quintana usually has the Phillies number. But knowing baseball and how weird it is, like Austin Hayes is batting in 340 to 352, whatever it was against lefties, and he couldn't even hit Mania tonight. Same thing with Edmundo Sosa. He's 4 for 8 in his career, and he couldn't even do anything against Mania. So baseball logic would say the Phillies are going to come out and demolish Quintana, but I think it's going to be another pitcher's duel. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be more than 10 total, 8. I don't even think there's going to be 8 total runs. I don't know. Phillies, I think their offense is going to show out in game 5. I still think they're going to win tomorrow, but it's going to be close, and it's going to be a real low-scoring game.
I like it. Luke, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, for all the people saying that this is over, that tonight is ended the series, I mean, it's a best-of-5 series, and that's why a team has to win 3 games. The Mets have only won 2 games. There's still 2 games to be played in this series. They only had to win 2 games for it to be over. It'd be over tonight, and it's not. And there's so much baseball left to be played. 9 innings is a lot of baseball. 18 innings is a ton of baseball. It's so far from over, and I think that the bats can show up tomorrow, and I think that the Phillies can do it. I think that if the bats show up tomorrow, I think we walk away with a win tomorrow and take it back to the bank.
Back to the bank. I like it. Rick says, great show, fellas. Can't wait to hear tomorrow night. So hope we're celebrating. If not, I'll be Robbie Rob for the night. Go Phillies. I love it. Oh, what do you got, brother?
Yeah, I think you nailed that, Luke. If the bats are going, the Phillies should win. I have that confidence in the offense. If they're firing on all cylinders, it should be enough for them to win. For all of our sanity, I hope they're able to get out to a decent lead, because if this is like another game 2 where it's back and forth and down to the wire, it's going to be even worse than game 2 because our season's on the line. So hopefully they can actually jump out to a lead. The biggest lead they've jumped out to is 1-0. So if we could have a multi-run lead in the first half of the game, I would love that for all of our sanity. But I'm with Tyler. It seems like the way the series is going, that's just not going to happen. It's going to be stressful all the way down to the end. And the way the Mets hit in the late innings, even if we're up 4 runs or something, they could come back in 1 inning. So we wouldn't even feel safe then. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be a nail biter. We're all going to be super stressed the whole time. And somebody's probably going to have to come up big in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning with a clutch hit.
I don't disagree, man. Before I swing it back to Tyler so he can close us out, as he started us out hot and as well as ever. But I agree with every single one of you. Number one, I think the Phillies win. I'm not delusional. I'm not giving up on a team. We've been here before. We've been here so many different times. I'm not saying we're going to win a series. I'm just saying that I think we win tomorrow. I think it's actually going to be a nail biter as well, but on a high scoring end. I do. I think this is going to be something where you're looking at like an 8-7 game. It's going to be bang, back and forth, couple hits here, couple hits here. And I think it's going to come down to a 1-run game. And I'm curious to see who's going to close it out. And I don't think it's going to be Estevez. I don't think it's going to be Estevez. I think it's going to be Schramm. I think, and we're all going to be biting our nails. We're all going to be dying, right, with every pitch. But I do think it happens, and I think it comes back to the bank where anything can happen. Last thing I'm going to say is, people, please understand something. This is the Major League Baseball playoffs. There's a reason why every single series right now until tonight's final is 1-1. Okay, going into this game. Okay, there's some damn good baseball teams, man, and some tremendous players. Okay, I take nothing away from the Mets. I actually applaud their manager. I think I actually like him a lot. I've studied some of his comments and why. I mean, he gives us nothing but props when we talk about the Philly fans. He told his guys to just own it, to relive it. You'll never hear nothing like this before. You'll never hear it again. He respects the game, man. And I think that's why they play for him. And I will say this. One prediction I'll say, Tyler, is whoever wins this series is going to the World Series in the National League. I don't care about the cheaters and the Dodgers with Ohtani betting money. I don't care about San Diego. I don't care. I'm telling whoever wins this series, in my opinion, is going to the World Series, man. But it better be the damn Phillies, man. It better be the damn Phillies. Tyler, close us out, brother.
To your point, I keep saying in the AL, it's going to be the winner of Rangers, or not Rangers. Oh my God, that was last year. Winner of Yankees and Royals, probably going up against the winner of Phillies Mets, because those are just the best and hottest teams right now. And they're realistically the only 2 teams I see coming out of each conference. So, Phillies, we were talking about this the other day. Phillies Royals do another Philly versus Kansas City matchup. So we shall see. But Ranger Suarez, for right now, getting the start, 12-8, 3.47 ERA, a lot higher than it was by the All-Star break. It was sub-2. Obviously had some injury issues and just has not looked the same. Very inconsistent since he's come back, but he's just been a little bit off. So he allegedly gets the start tomorrow, going up against Jose Quintana. We talked about his game against the Brewers earlier in the clinching game. So Quintana has a chance to clinch another postseason advancement for the Mets. 6 innings, 4 hits, 0 runs, 5 strikeouts. We'll be doing a deep dive into all that tomorrow on the pregame show, which is going to be live here at 3:30. I know Owen's going to be here. I don't know. Luke, are you going to be here?
Absolutely.
Tony, you going to be here?
I'll be crossing the kids tomorrow, bro. You know, I'm a crossing card. So
That's right.
yeah, three. Listen, 2:45 to 4:15 every day. I'm mowing people down and throwing a stop sign. People flip me the bird, and you know, it's all good. That's what I live for, man. So no, I will. I'll be post game now. I'll definitely be post game.
Well, hopefully during that post game, we can start talking about what we're looking forward to with Game 5. So again, make sure you're checking us out on Heat Ratio Sports and All Philly all the time. Make sure you're following on all socials. Just want to thank the boys again for joining us. This has been a blast.
Yes.
This is the most fun pre and post game shows I've done all season. So props to you guys. Make sure you're following them, especially if you're Philly fans. They have some terrific videos. The drafting Philly, the worst Philly sports moments. That really made me a little bit depressed watching that. But besides that, terrific videos. They do a phenomenal job. But yeah, that's going to do it here for us, for Tony, for Owen, for Luke, for Tyler, for All Philly all the time and Heat Ratio Sports. We'll see you tomorrow at 3:30, and we'll see you for the post game. Thanks for joining, everyone.